everyone. Welcome to episode 8 of Meeting the Moment, Embracing and Navigating Pivots, Part 2. Okay, now, y'all see her. It's the blue hairy unicorn. I am joined today by Maddie B, an unapologetic advocate for authenticity, vulnerability, and creating workplaces where people feel safe to show up as their true selves. She's a New Englander turned Austinite, the author of Let Them See You, the Crash Out Coach, trademark, so don't steal it, founder of the Black Speakers Collective, an employee experience expert, a world traveler, a gym baddie, and a breakfast connoisseur. Welcome.
All of those things, especially breakfast, actually.
Especially breakfast. I get jealous sometimes. I'm not a big breakfast eater, but I do pay attention to your breakfast meals. And I'm like, that looks good. I would eat that.
I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Welcome back. You were on Trap Chat Live long time ago. But we're ready to have you back. So let's jump in. We got a lot to cover today. Whew. You have built a career out of telling people to show up as their full selves at work. And you've done this from inside HR, from the speaker stage, from the page, and now as the Crash Out Coach. What was the most unexpected pivot in that arc? And what did it teach you about the difference between performing authenticity and living it?
So this is probably not like a popular take, but I think for me, the biggest pivot was learning how much I don't care about corporate America. Mm-hmm. And it truly came, I guess not out of nowhere, but once it came all at once. And I just started having this feeling of like wanting to crawl out of my skin when I started thinking about like sending another Slack message or logging into another email on a Monday. And part of that is, you mentioned I travel a lot, and I just started thinking about how big the world is and how vast life is. And all of us are stuck in our tiny little offices, sending our silly little emails, pretending that's the most important thing in the world. And we're sold this idea that you build this life and you build this life and you buy the house and you go on vacation. But now you're in the house locked in your little office and you're on the vacation with your phone like this, and you're putting it on Instagram, but you're not mentioning that you haven't looked up to look at your partner. You haven't looked up to look at where you're at. All you have done is take an Instagram photo. So you've made your life consumable, but you yourself cannot touch it. And I kept thinking that I wanted this thing, right? Like I made it to C-suite before 30, which blows my mind to this day, but it was the most stressful thing I've ever done. It was the least healthy I've ever been. It is probably the least happy I've ever been, but I was making the most money I've ever made. Does that make up for those things? Absolutely not.
Whew, okay. Talk about a segue. Your work rests on psychological safety, and we know psychological safety does not exist without trust. In a moment, this dumpster fire we're living in, when DEI is being dismantled, return to office mandates are stripping away folks' flexibility, and employees are being told to be grateful just to have a job. How do you rebuild trust with a workforce that has every reason to believe leadership does not want them in the room?
You can't. It is impossible to trust the people who do not value you. And I think what we have learned time and time again in the last 24 months is they do not care. I think there was this really beautiful window in 2020, 2021, where we thought we were headed in the right direction. Yeah. We started to finally understand that, work isn't the center of everyone's universe. Everyone's working at home with their kids and their dogs and their Lysoling their groceries, and holy moly, they have entire full lives. Yeah. But of course, work trends follow political trends. And so in the last 18 to 24 months, we've seen a really hard left back into pro work. And not just like where we were in 2020, I would say we are worse than where we were in 2020. Because now you're seeing it very normalized that you should be working 70 hours a week. If you don't work harder, AI is going to take your job. And so now people are up against an absolute unreal task. You cannot outrace the machine, but the machine will make sure you try. And you will kill yourself doing it. Absolutely. So I don't think it's possible to rebuild trust when you're not meant to trust them. You're meant to fear them.
So can we rebuild trust in ourselves and not even try with the machine or the system?
So I think my biggest focus lately, especially with like my individual clients, is I am never going to be the person that's like, everyone should be an entrepreneur, go build a business.
Don't do it.
It's not easier over here, right? It's not less stressful. But what I can help people do is learn to emotionally divest from work.
Okay.
Go to work and do the thing. I'm not saying care less about your craft or your skill, but care less about that, the noise, the people, the trust with them, because you're going to get it. And every time that you're stressed out at work at 9 p.m., guess what? You're taking a pay cut because they're not paying you to work at 9 p.m. Every time that you can't sleep for 10 hours a night, you're taking a pay cut because they're not paying you to think about them, but you're working. And so the more that I can help people divest from that moment and make a work just a thing that you do, the same way I go to the grocery store, the same way I sit in traffic, the same way I go to the gym, none of those things really have the capability of like messing with my mental. So why do I give work that much power? And I recognize it's because it is our livelihoods and it's what how we fund ourselves. But for so many of us, it is more than that. We have tied our worth to our ability to produce, which is incredibly American of us.
Yes, very capitalistic. Yes. Okay, we're going to shift just a little bit because I want to talk about the Black Speakers Collection, which I believe is the foundation. You built it because stages, bylines, and boardrooms kept defaulting to the same voices. And then most recently, you came up with our own damn list, which is over 100 Black women, and you found them in under 24 hours. Like you had a list of over 100 Black women under 24 hours, had your website up, had links to their profiles. And that's just further proof that the problem was never about finding us. It was about intention. So both of those are relationship infrastructure that you built in public. What have you learned about building platforms that don't just open doors for you, but that hold them open for everyone coming behind you? And then what do you do when the people you've championed, the people that you put on, aren't ready to do the same for others?
So I think for me, I feel like I was truly madly, deeply put on this earth to build community. I get so much joy out of connecting people, out of helping people win. And more importantly, like I truly believe that money is printed somewhere in a machine. I know I'm going to anger a white man with that statement, but like it is just printed in a warehouse somewhere. There is more than enough of it for it to go around. I do not believe you should have to have had built a giant platform in order to get paid. There are people out there who are way smarter than me, way cooler than me, much more well-spoken than I am, but they don't have 200,000 followers, so they don't get picked. And that to me isn't equitable. And for me, I wanted to prove a point. I am nothing if not a point prover. Because every time someone told me I can't find a Black speaker or I don't know any Black women to put on my list of people to follow on LinkedIn, I really like proving people wrong. It is the only child in me, if you will. And it's interesting to build it in public because people can't tell you what to do, but it shows them that they can do it too. A lot of times people will ask me like, oh, can I build a list like this? Yeah, like I'm not gatekeeping this. This isn't like a trademarked idea. Like I want people to go do the same thing because the more that we speak each other's names in rooms, the better we all are for it. I think one of the things I've had to learn is just because you do it for others does not mean they are willing to do it for others. And I cannot take that responsibility. I just know how I operate and I can control what I can control. And yes, is it disappointing when you help someone and then when you need help, they're not there? For sure. But it is also a lesson in sometimes you just do things for the good of the thing, and that's enough.
Yeah. I think a lot of folks sometimes, especially ones that have been marginalized, they feel like they're operating out of scarcity and then they respond to that scarcity. So when they get put on, they don't necessarily want to put anyone else on because they're like, let me hold on to this opportunity. Let me hold on to every one of these things, even if I'm not the best fit, even if I have to go and research what this is actually about. Instead of saying, hey, I have a referral. Like they don't see it as widening their connections. They don't see it as building stronger relationships. They see it as, like I said, keeping something because they're used to scarcity.
100%. My favorite thing is to tell people like, I'm not the right person for this. I am not about to struggle my way through this and we're all going to have a bad time. Just absolutely not. I am more than happy to make a recommendation and I pretty much always have one, but I also think that's an ego thing. And a lot of us haven't gotten really good yet at saying, I don't know.
Very nice. All right, we're going to move on to your book. Let Them See You. So y'all make sure you pick it up. We're going to put a link. Oh, you have it? There you go. We're going to put a link to it where you can go purchase it in the comments. But Let Them See You, that's a book about authenticity. It's also a book about accountability to yourself when the workplace is asking you to shrink, and accountability from leaders who say the right things in public, but then do the opposite behind closed doors. How do you hold leaders accountable to the cultures they claim to want? And how do you hold yourself accountable when the cost of being seen gets very steep?
So I think for me, the number one reason I wrote this book was I think many of us want to be good partners, good parents, good teachers, good peers, good leaders, and we want to be safe for all of those people. But you can actually only be as safe for others as you are for yourself. And in order to be safe for yourself, it also means you have to meet all versions of you. The crappy ones, the ones who you constantly like delete the Facebook status when you see it in your memories, the one who you're not super proud of, because all of those versions built this one today. There are lots of versions of me that are less than ideal for me today, but that was Madison at 25 doing exactly what she could with the tools she had in her toolbox. You are your longest, oldest friend, and it doesn't benefit you to hate parts of yourself, because the hate that you hold for parts of yourself will come out for the world around you. One of the things I learned as someone who held anti-Blackness for a very long time, all of those terrible thoughts I thought about myself, guess what? I thought about the world around me. How did that manifest? That manifested as harm. And does that feel good to say out loud? Absolutely not. Do I enjoy thinking about it? Absolutely not. But I am only better because I'm willing to look right at it. And so when I'm having these conversations with leaders, it is that too, because it's not just holding yourself accountable to the harm that you've caused in your life, but holding yourselves accountable to the harm that you've created in your organization simply because you didn't know better.
Wow.
Don't be mad at yourself forever, but also own that because you didn't know better, you couldn't do better, and you didn't. And for me, that's the important part, is you have to start to understand where you held a little bit of the weight. You held a little bit of the guilt. And it's okay to put the guilt down, but you still have to look at the actions and the outcomes pretty directly.
Wow. Okay. We're going to talk about the crash out coach. And if you want to give folks a back. So she has us trademarked. She has a, listen, if you ever follow Maddie on any platform, you can see the videos. She just invites people to come and crash out with her.
I do. And I think that was born, I felt like 2025 was like the year of the crash out for me. But all of the best things were on the other side of it.
Okay.
Like I had a crash out recently with Aubrey Blanche, and she made a comment that was like, when I was in my last relationship, which if you follow me on any kind of social media, you know, it like blew up loudly. Yeah. But she said like the entire time that I was in that relationship, I was like gray. Like I had no light in my eyes, and my skin, I kind of looked like a sick Victorian child. And now I'm brown again, which is very nice. My hair has started to grow again, which I actually only put that together a couple of weeks ago. I was like, man, my hair wouldn't grow for like years. And now we're finally past the chin. And I mean, it was one of those moments where a couple of years ago, I was like, I'm just going to chop it all off. And then immediately it was like, why did I do that? But I was like, oh, it'll grow back. No, it didn't. It did not grow back. My nails weren't growing. My nails were super thin. My face looked very snatched, but not in a healthy way. I had like no buccal fat. And then I got laid off from a job that, although I had loved it previously, had gotten really tumultuous. I was super, super bitter about being there. And I got laid off. And despite it being scary, I felt this like big rush of relief. And for about 12 months, I stepped into a role where I wasn't a leader. I was an individual contributor, and it allowed me to not care, which really made me think about, oh, I can come to work and I can do the thing, and I cannot think about you people on the weekend. Okay. And boy, did that give me my life back. And so what I wanted to think about with people is, what are your crash outs actually telling you? Because your body is freaking out about something, but what if instead of blowing up your life, we used it productively. We used it productively. We used it as a strategy. We used it as a stepping stone to what comes next, because what comes next could be better. You just have to listen to yourself. So many of us stay in our situations, whether it be relationships or jobs or the neighborhood you've always lived in, simply because it's easy, it's comfortable. And you'd rather push that crash out down. You'd rather push that feeling down to just move on. all of it sucks, right? Like any kind of change isn't fun. But what happens on the other side? And again, I'm a Virgo, I'm an Enneagram 8. I do not like surprises by any means. I don't like to not know what happens next. But I actually think that my life has become so much more beautiful for allowing myself to let those things happen.
Do you think folks get pushed through, grind harder? Do you think they get that wrong when they're heading towards their crash out?
Yeah. I mean, we all do it, right? Like we're fed all of this. First off, the red pill movement on the internet is not helping any of us because it's all like, get up and grind. And if you don't wake up at 5 a.m. and dip your face in ice water, like you're failing. I cozily sleep till about 8:49 every day.
You do?
Every day. You are not catching me out before the birds. It's not happening unless I am headed to a flight. And tomorrow I'm getting my car registered at 7 a.m. Not my favorite, but it was the only time available. But there's this world where we push ourselves to operate in hours that don't make sense for our bodies. We think that if we just work really hard, we'll get where we want to go. That is not how it works. That is, again, capitalism will tell you to run against it and outrace it. You're never going to beat capitalism in any kind of race. And guess what? Guess what happens when you hold any kind of marginalized identity? You have like weights on your feet. So now not only are you not winning, you are killing yourself while trying. And you don't get to stop burnout. The only thing you can kind of do is try to prevent it because it is a whole lot easier to prevent than it is to cure. But the goal is to burn you out. That's the sick joke in all of this. The system is meant to grind you down. I think for the longest time I don't know if you've watched Handmaid's Tale, but I had the like, don't let the bastards grind you down as my cover photo on Facebook for the longest time, because it's exactly that. That is the goal. The goal is to make you, one, think that if you can't reach that, you can't race capitalism, that you're worthless. Because when you think you're worthless, you're more useful to them because you'll work harder because you're trying to prove your worth. And it doesn't matter how much you prove your worth or how much work you do, they will always view you as worthless. So what have you done? You've done nothing. You haven't poured into yourself. You've poured into them knowing they're never going to pour into you. But the system is set up that way. And everything we're fed in media tells you to continue to do that. There are a couple of like rest related pages, but do you think that's what the algorithm is serving up? Absolutely not.
So I want to restate that because I never thought about it that way. But burnout, listen to this. She said it. Burnout is easier to prevent than cure. Remember that. Prevent it. Because once you burn out, it is what it is. Like, it's going to take you a minute to recover. Okay. You have said that humanity at work is not a nice to have. It's a business tenet. We're in a moment where a lot of organizations are betting against that premise out loud. What does meeting this moment look like for you now?
For me personally or for them? I think
for you.
One of the questions that I get a lot is like, do we think any companies are doing this well? And I'm always the cynic in the room. But for me, you are not less human because you have logged into Slack for the day or because you've opened your laptop. Work is not the center of any of our universes. Work is the thing that sustains our universes. So when one of those things is out of sync, your marriage, your health, your home, your bank account, that comes to work with you. If we were more aware of the ability for humans to perform based on what they are living through right now, the better we would all understand our people. But instead, we expect them, no matter what's going on, you're getting divorced, come to work. Work be exactly the same. Oh, your mom just died? Come to work. Oh, you're worried that you might be sick? Come to work. And if you don't perform, we'll fire you. None of that actually mathematically makes sense because, again, it doesn't benefit a company from a financial standpoint to term someone and then rehire them. All of that costs money. But what if you better understood how people are working based on the moment that they are living through? What if we gave people the space to just be human and experience life as it ebbs and flows? Because life's, and it doesn't get less messy based on how old you are or how much money you make or what your title is or what's in your bank account. The CEO's got mess. I've got mess. You've got mess. The guy over there's got mess. all of our mess probably looks very different. We've all got some kind of crash out happening, but none of it skips you because you climbed up the food chain. So if it's something that we all have in some capacity, why are none of us willing to talk about it?
Sometimes it doesn't feel safe.
Correct. The onus is on the organization. The onus is on the leadership. And here's the kicker. Most of us are bad at it as leaders. And if we want to see this behavior in our teams, guess what? We're a mirror. So if I'm unwilling to be vulnerable and tell my team, oh, I'm overwhelmed. Oh, I have too much on my plate. Oh, you know what? I actually need to sit down, take a break, take a moment because I have stuff going on and I'm not my best right now. How can I expect my teams to do that? If I don't take PTO, my team's not taking PTO. We are a mirror. And if we can't care for ourselves, if we can't be safe for ourselves, then our teams can't be those things either.
I love it. Whew, you took me through it. And now it's time for the rapid fire. Who's a well-known and or lesser-known historical or contemporary figure who inspires you and we should learn more about?
I guess not unknown, but I really love Audre Lorde for me. And I guess if you are into literature or probably Black or queer, it's a name that will be familiar to you. But if not a name familiar to you, might I encourage you to dig in a bit?
Okay.
Also, you can add Kimberly Crenshaw on that list. Also not super unknown, but
yeah, I think well, it's definitely people in our community,
in our world,
HR, they know about intersectionality. So yeah, well, they've heard of it.
Maybe.
I'm trying to be nice today.
I'm not. I'm a hater. Everyone, I'm very proud of it. Like I am a hater, but in the way that I think everyone should be a hater. I don't like a lot of people. Not a lot of people have ever seen me in person. I am essentially a concept. But even if I don't like you, I want you to have access to safety, to love, to compassion, to a life that feels deep and beautiful and rich. And it's that easy. I don't have to like you to want those things for you. So I don't know why everyone else struggles with it.
I can't get over. I am a concept. I can't get over. All right, hold on.
It's why everyone's so shocked when they hear that I'm short because no one's ever met me to know that
You're
I'm
short?
Yeah, I'm like 5'2", barely. And everyone thinks I'm like 5'10". I'm not. I'm 5'2".
Yes, you definitely give the illusion of tall.
I have very long legs for my very short body.
Good to know. Okay. What's the best piece of career advice you've received that you would give to your early career self?
You do not have to do it the way everyone else did it simply because it's the only thing you've seen.
I like that. So you've already written a book about your career, or that could be about your career, but when you write your next book, and it's describing your career, what would the title be?
Well, technically, this will be my second book that I am going to write, but it's going to be called The Glass Ball, and it is simply because you are the thing that's not allowed to break. We are told that everything else has to be juggled, but everything else is a plastic ball. You are the glass ball, and you are the only thing that you need to protect at all times.
That's beautiful. I can't wait to read it. What fictional character gives you a glimpse of yourself?
Samantha Jones from Sex and the City. And I say that simply because she just did whatever she wanted at all times, in spite of everything, but for herself. And
she was a good friend. Okay. Her and Charlotte were the best friends on the best model of what friendship is on that show.
100%. And I just think that I really admire her ability to be like, I need this thing, so I'm going to go get this thing. And it doesn't actually bother me how other people feel about the things that I'm choosing for myself.
Okay. I like that. What's your go-to songs, or music genre when you want to hype yourself up to conquer the day?
TikTok trap, please. And I listen to a lot of Lil Baby and a lot of Meg Thee Stallion.
Of course. Okay. What's your favorite empowering quote?
Your silence will not protect you, Audre Lorde.
All right. And one thing you want people to take away from this conversation, if they only take away one thing.
Life is really, 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 really short, even though it may seem really, really long. And you don't get to the end and say, I wish I spent more time at work. I wish I spent more time perfecting that email or fixing those typos. You will want more time with your partner. You'll want more time by the ocean. You will want more time with the things that mean something to you, that have been the things that were the highlight reels of your life. Work is never going to be the highlight reel, but you get to curate the highlight reel. So think about what you're curating now, not 50 years from now, because maybe you don't get 50 years. Maybe you get 12 minutes. Maybe you get 12 years. Maybe you get 12 months. But don't live your life hoping to get to those moments. Take advantage of living those moments now, because you deserve to have a life that felt really good and didn't just feel like work. And if you don't take care of yourself, nobody else is going to.
You heard it. I love that. So before I let you go, please let folks know where they can, number one, get your book, where they can maybe come and crash out with you, where they can follow you, learn more about you, and shout out any projects, initiatives that you want folks to be aware of as well.
So you can find me on the interwebs. I'm Madison Amelia B on both Instagram and TikTok. That might be my X handle, but I don't log in there anymore. You can also find me on the LinkedIns. I'm Madison Butler. I'm the one with the blue hair. Very easy to spot, usually shadow banned. You can buy my book anywhere books are sold, but might I recommend bookshop.org, because we love to shop small and not feed the conglomerate machine. If you want to crash out with me, you can find my crash out on Spotify, Apple Music, all of the fun podcasting platforms, but you can always catch me live at noon on Fridays on LinkedIn or Instagram.
Okay. Thank you so much for lending your time to Trap Chat today, and thank the audience for joining us. Please come back again. We still have more Meeting the Moment Part 2. We will see you next time.